Welcome, deep divers. Today, we're setting sail on, well, an incredible journey, really. One that promises to transform how you think about your finances and ultimately your future. We're going to uncover these timeless principles of getting wealthy, drawing wisdom that dates back, believe it or not, to the dawn of civilization. Yeah, we're talking secrets that have literally stood the test of millennia. Principles as relevant now as they were thousands of years ago in, ancient Babylon. Our guide, our compass on this adventure, is this truly remarkable book, The Richest Man in Babylon. It was originally conceived by George S. Clason. Now, for anyone unfamiliar, Clason was quite a distinguished American businessman. He was really well known for his insightful pamphlets on financial success, started publishing them way back in 1926. These were later collected into this iconic book, which, and this is key, has since been carefully revised and updated for the 21st century. So it ensures that its profound lessons speak directly to, well, the complexities of our modern world. It bridges that gap between ancient stories and today's financial realities. So our mission today is pretty specific. We're diving deep into these ancient stories, not just to admire them historically, but to pull out genuinely modern, actionable financial advice. We want to shed some light on why some people, often starting from, pretty humble beginnings, manage to build lasting wealth, while others, maybe working just as hard, earning good money even, seem to perpetually struggle to get ahead. Our goal is to offer you a kind of shortcut, helping you become genuinely well-informed on this absolute crucial topic, personal finance. We want to cut through the noise, maybe debunk some common myths, and hopefully spark some real aha moments that could really redefine your financial path.
And that really is the enduring power here, isn't it? In a world where finance seems to change so fast, new tech, volatile markets, all these economic theories, the core ideas for building and keeping wealth, they stay surprisingly consistent. They are, remarkably simple when you boil them down, but profoundly effective. And they really push back against a lot of common misconceptions about money, about luck, about what it genuinely takes to, well, prosper and find financial freedom. We're going to try and strip away some of that overwhelming complexity, get down to the basic truths of financial mastery, and show you just how accessible these powerful insights actually are.
The first step to wealth, a part of all you earn, is yours to keep.
Okay, let's get into it. There's this foundational parable that really sets the stage. Picture ancient Babylon, famous for its immense wealth, right? Huge walls, the legendary hanging gardens. And here, we meet Arcad. His name basically meant rich, the wealthiest man in the whole land. But here's the thing. He wasn't born into it. His childhood friends, guys who'd worked hard their whole lives as laborers, barely scraping by, they came to him. They were confused. They remembered Arcad as just a humble scribe. No special advantages. Yet he'd achieved what seemed impossible to them. They just wanted to know his secret. What was the turning point? What was that piece of wisdom that set his path apart from their struggles? And Arcad, with that calm confidence of someone who truly understands, he revealed it. He told them how, years ago, in exchange for his work as a scribe, another rich man shared this. This incredibly simple yet revolutionary secret. A part of all you earn is yours to keep. Yeah. Now, on the surface, that sounds almost too basic, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
Like something your grandma might have told you. But underneath that simple phrase is this deep, transformative truth that really underpins all lasting wealth.
It is deceptively simple, yeah. But its power is huge because it directly challenges one of our most, ingrained behaviors. What it means, really, at its core, is you absolutely must not spend every single cent you earn, period. A portion of your income, maybe just 10% to start, maybe even less. It doesn't matter how small that part isn't for spending right now. It's for you to purposefully, deliberately set aside, save it, and eventually invest it. This idea immediately confronts our human instinct, which is often just to consume everything that comes our way.
Right, the minute it hits the bank account.
Exactly. There's this huge temptation, maybe even pressure from society to spend it all. Needs, wants, obligations. This ancient wisdom demands a fundamental shift. A disciplined one, seeing your earnings not as just something to spend, but as a resource you continually build from.
And Arcad didn't just get this intellectually. He lived it. He applied it, practically, systematically, right from the start. He meticulously saved, diligently, over time, until he had enough saved up that it could actually be put to work. Then, and this is absolutely crucial, he didn't just hoard it under his mattress, so to speak. He lent that money to a shield maker. Someone who needed capital to grow his business, his craft. And what did the shield maker do in return? Paid Arcad interest. This wasn't some massive windfall. It wasn't sudden luck. It was that foundational act, Disciplined saving, followed by the strategic decision to make the saved money work for him. That, for Arcad, was the initial spark, that humble beginning of his huge fortune. It proves that consistent, small steps, they really can lead to extraordinary results.
And the immediate, profound takeaway for you listening right now is the absolute necessity of creating a lifestyle that lets you live just slightly below your means. This isn't about grim deprivation, okay? Or austerity just for the sake of it.
It's strategic.
Exactly. It's strategic, conscious allocation of your resources. The book gives some great, relatable examples even for today. Maybe that dream weekend trip to Paris you planned. Maybe postpone it just a bit until you're more comfortable financially. Or, maybe switching from that fancy quilted toilet paper to the regular kind. It really wouldn't be the end of the world, would it?
Probably not.
These little examples highlight the small choices we make every day, often without thinking. It's about making deliberate decisions to free up some portion of your income. No minimum required. Just start. Start that journey. That's a powerful act, really, almost rebellious, financially speaking. Disciplined. And it lays the groundwork, the absolutely essential groundwork for everything else, creating that margin, that surplus that becomes the fuel.
Beyond saving, the power of wise investment.
Okay, so we firmly established step one. Consistently save a part of your income. Crucial, non-negotiable. But here's the next big question, the one that separates just having some money saved from actually growing wealth. Why isn't just stuffing that cash under the mattress enough? Or, letting it sit in a basic checking account? Why do we need to move beyond simple saving? Why is investing the essential next step?
Because money under a mattress, or even in a lot of traditional savings accounts with tiny interest rates, it's just stagnant. It doesn't increase in value by itself. In fact, often it actually loses purchasing power over time, thanks to inflation, that unseen thief.
Right, the silent killer of savings.
Exactly. The source even says a bank's measly interest often isn't enough for real wealth accumulation. Think about it. If inflation is, say, 3%, and your savings account pays 0.5%, well, your money's actually shrinking by 2.5% in real terms every year. For your money to genuinely grow, to build that lasting wealth that can eventually support you, it needs to actively work for you.
It needs a job.
It needs a job. It needs to be deployed, put into places where it can generate more money, where it can compound and multiply, become productive capital.
Yeah.
That's the fundamental difference, hoarding resources versus strategically growing them.
Exactly. And the book, despite being ancient, talks about investment opportunities remarkably similar to what we consider today. Things like stocks, owning a piece of a company, hoping it grows or pays dividends, government bonds, basically lending money to the government for a fixed interest rate, or even funding startups, being an early investor in new businesses. The core idea is if you do this right, your saved money starts increasing in value without you having to put in extra effort once that investment is made. It's like setting up a little army of financial workers, right? Each one diligently contributing while you do other things.
And this is a huge but, a critical caveat we absolutely have to stress: you must invest wisely. The advice from Babylon is crystal clear. Only entrust your savings to people who know how to use them.
That sounds important.
It is. This is where the wisdom gets really practical. Cuts through the hype of quick riches. Like the book's example.
Yeah.
You wouldn't give your money to a lumberjack who suddenly decides he wants to trade diamonds, right?
Probably not a good idea.
It's outside his expertise. It's risky. But giving your money to, say, a reputable hedge fund, a specialized fund with market expertise, complex strategies, that can make a lot of sense. Because they likely have the deep knowledge, the analytical tools that you probably lack as an individual. Misplacing your trust or investing in something you don't truly understand, haven't researched thoroughly. That's one of the fastest ways to lose everything you worked so hard to save. It's about matching your capital with proven competence, knowledge, not just someone's enthusiasm or vague promises.
What's just so fascinating here, and I keep coming back to this, is how perfectly this ancient Babylonian wisdom lines up with modern financial principles. The fundamentals haven't changed. Saving is the start. Wise investment is the engine for growth.
It's uncanny, really.
The tools might have evolved, from lending gold to shield makers to complex hedge funds or global stocks. But the underlying mechanics, the essential wisdom of making your money work for you, it's utterly timeless.
It tells us something profound about human nature and about value creation itself, I think. These principles just endure, making these old texts surprisingly powerful guides even now.
The humility of true financial wisdom.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Let's dive into something a little more philosophical, but with really profound implications for our finances. Quick question for you listening. Do you consider yourself knowledgeable? Maybe even wise? Most of us, if we're honest, probably think, yeah, I know a thing or two. We like to feel competent.
Of course.
But get ready for a bit of a jolt. Because ancient philosophy offers a truth that can be deeply humbling, especially when dealing with something as complex as finance.
Yeah, this is where we bring in Socrates, the great Athenian philosopher, and his famous profound statement, "I know that I know nothing." True wisdom, he argued, isn't just about piling up facts. It's about the deep realization, the humble admission of how little you actually know. It's recognizing the vastness of what's beyond your current understanding,
Mhm.
especially when you're learning something new or complex. It's about cultivating this intellectual humility, a curiosity,
Mhm.
an openness that encourages continuous learning. It's the opposite of thinking you've got it all figured out.
And it's so true, isn't it? When you first learn something new, it often doesn't make you feel smarter right away. Instead, it shines a light on all these other more complex areas you didn't even know existed.
Exactly. Opens up more questions.
Like, think about learning basic relativity theory. Suddenly you encounter space-time curvature, gravitational lensing, quantum stuff, and you realize there's so much more you don't grasp. You might actually feel more ignorant than before you started learning. That feeling, that expanded awareness of your own knowledge boundary, that's genuine learning happening.
And this connects directly, powerfully to finance. The source observes quite sharply that most people struggle with even basic financial formulas, like truly understanding compound interest over decades. It's tricky.
That is.
Yet many of these same people charge ahead, make huge financial decisions with a really limited knowledge base, without stopping to think about what they don't know. The danger is obvious, and we've seen it play out. Think about 2008 and subprime mortgages.
Oh, wait.
Loans given to people with shaky credit, often with those tricky adjustable rates that exploded later. Unsustainable. Many investors piled in thinking they knew enough to get rich quick, and they failed spectacularly. They hadn't paused to really learn about the underlying sustainability, the complex risks, systemic issues. They just didn't know what they didn't know and assumed their surface understanding was enough.
So what's the takeaway here for you listening?
Yeah.
It means that going the extra mile, committing to really studying finance, humbly admitting what you don't know, and actively seeking to understand it, that can be a massive competitive advantage. It's not about becoming a Wall Street genius overnight. It's about building a solid fundamental understanding. That deeper knowledge lets you spot real opportunities that others may be blinded by overconfidence or just unwilling to do the homework will totally miss. It empowers you to make informed trades, smart investments, based on solid ground, not just chasing trends or rumors.
It's like building an intellectual fortress around your money, protecting you from common mistakes and guiding you towards real, lasting success.
The long-game wealth acquisition is a continuous process.
We've all heard those stories, right? Maybe even daydreamed about it. Getting rich overnight, winning the lottery, hitting the jackpot with one amazing stock kick, that startup that just explodes.
The fantasy is appealing, definitely.
Who wouldn't want that instant life change? But let's get real. Outside of that incredibly rare lottery win, that scenario, it's just not realistic for most of us. And frankly, banking on it is pretty dangerous.
Absolutely. The truth that the richest man in Babylon really hammers home is that gaining significant wealth, real wealth, it's fundamentally a long process. It's not one big event. It's a sustained journey. Countless small steps forward, often requires diligent effort, careful planning, and yeah, more than a few inevitable setbacks.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Exactly. Often an obstacle course, too, with unexpected twists. The core reason it takes time is simple. The world isn't static. It's dynamic, constantly evolving, especially finance. Markets shift, new technologies disrupt things, entire industries change, economies cycle through booms and busts. There's no fixed, predictable path where one strategy just works forever.
Precisely. And that inherent dynamism, that constant change, it implies a crucial lesson. You can't just pick one winning strategy like pouring all your money into one specific stock or one sector or even one asset class like property and then just sit back. You can't just expect the money to roll in forever without you staying engaged.
Complacency is risky.
Extremely. The financial system is inherently uncertain. It's almost built that way. Sooner or later, something big will happen. Think about stock market crashes we've seen, the dot-com bust, global pandemics changing everything, political crises.
Unpredictable events.
Right. These demand adaptation. Your old strategy, no matter how good it was, might suddenly become useless or even harmful overnight. Assuming otherwise is just inviting trouble.
And this is exactly where the real, continuous work of adaptation comes into play.
Hmm.
To thrive in this shifting landscape, you have to be willing to constantly learn new strategies, experiment with them. And this is important, except that you will probably have failures, setbacks in some of those experiments.
Trial and error.
It's inevitable. You'll make some wrong calls, some investments won't work out like you hoped. But this cycle, trial, error, learning, adapting this, is precisely what builds your overall investment skill, deepens your financial knowledge, refines your decision-making. It's just like scientific progress, really. Failed experiments aren't wastes of time.
They're data.
Exactly. Valuable data points. They help refine theories, eliminate bad ideas, and ultimately lead to breakthroughs. Better understanding. Every setback, if you look at it right, provides an invaluable lesson. It shapes you into a smarter, more resilient, more adaptable investor.
And here's where it gets really interesting, thinking about this long game. The source gives this intriguing idea that even a failed investment, let's go back to those risky subprime mortgages we mentioned even, that could teach you so much.
Learning from mistakes.
Right. The experience of that failure, diving deep into why it failed, could give you insights so profound that it might actually lead to future successful investments, maybe even in that same field. But when conditions are different or new, better models emerge.
It's about mastering the domain through experience.
It's not just about avoiding mistakes. It's about learning the nuances, understanding the market psychology, seeing the real opportunities because of your mistakes, eventually mastering a complex area.
However, and this is a critical warning, since trial and error does involve mistakes, you absolutely must ensure these mistakes are small, contained, manageable.
Don't bet the farm.
Never bet the farm. Never ever invest money you cannot comfortably afford to lose in something uncertain, especially when you're just experimenting. This is about calculated risks, not reckless gambles that could wipe you out completely. Small experiments give you invaluable learning without financial ruin. They preserve your capital for future, smarter, potentially bigger opportunities. It's about gaining wisdom through experience, not through catastrophe.
Making money versus attaining wealth, a critical distinction.
All right, let's dig into something subtle now, but incredibly important. A distinction the book suggests most people don't even realize exists. They tend to use the terms interchangeably. I want you listening to think about this for a second. What's the real difference between making money and attaining wealth? Most of us probably just lump them together, right? Seems like the same thing.
It does seem like it on the surface.
But according to this ancient wisdom, there's a huge difference, a fundamental shift in perspective that really impacts your whole financial journey.
There absolutely is a critical difference, yes. And it's often overlooked, but it's pivotal if you want true financial freedom. Let's clarify. Making money is basically when you are actively working for the money. You're trading your time, your skills, your labor, your presence for direct payment. Salary, wages, fees. It's an active exchange. You work, you get paid. Attaining wealth, on the other hand, means being in a situation where your money starts working for you.
Ah, okay. The effort comes from the money itself.
Precisely. Your assets, your investments, your saved capital, they are generating income or growing in value, separate from your daily grind.
Let's use a really common example. Imagine you're a fantastic factory manager, indispensable, making really good salary every month, high performer,
Burning good money.
definitely making money, doing well. But are you, just by having that job, automatically attaining wealth?
Not necessarily, no.
That great salary is just an income stream.
Right.
And it's totally dependent on you showing up, doing the job, the company needing you.
If that stops.
The income stops too.
Exactly. So to truly attain wealth, that factory manager needs to take a deliberate chunk of that good salary, save it consistently, like we talked about, and then strategically invest it. Maybe they buy some real estate or rental property that brings in income each month. Or maybe they build a diversified portfolio of stocks that pay dividends. That is the act of attaining wealth, because now the money invested in the property or the stocks, it's working for them.
Generating more money independently.
Right. Generating income, growing in value, separate from their daily job. It creates an income stream that doesn't need their direct hour-by-hour labor. It frees up their time and effort.
This really highlights a stark contrast in mindset, doesn't it? A fundamental difference in financial philosophy. Making money often focuses on the short term, that next paycheck. Meeting today's expenses, immediate needs.
The gratification is now.
Yeah. The future can feel a bit fuzzy, maybe just looking ahead a few weeks or months. But there's a real danger in that short-term focus, isn't there?
There is a profound vulnerability. What if that next paycheck just doesn't arrive?
Yeah.
Job loss, illness, economic downturn.
Happens all the time.
Exactly. What if your industry changes or your skills become outdated? A purely short-term focus gives you very little buffer against those kinds of shocks. Attaining wealth, however, inherently involves longer-term goals, a strategic view of the future. That property you bought, it won't make you rich overnight. You have to pay down the mortgage, build equity, wait for it to appreciate. That takes years.
Patience is key.
Definitely. But once that investment starts paying off, or once its value has grown significantly, it
Yeah.
will likely keep providing benefits for a long time. It offers that crucial layer of security, financial independence, protection against the unexpected, job loss, illness, recession. It's about building a strong financial foundation for your future, making sure your livelihood isn't just tied to your ability to clock in every single day.
The unseen force, the power of interest and compounding.
Okay, next up. Let's talk about this unseen but incredibly powerful force in finance, a concept right at the heart of wealth building, especially for those who already have some capital: interest and compounding. Now, when you borrow money, student loan, mortgage, you get it right. You pay interest.
We all feel that side of it.
But the flip side is just as true and way more exciting. When you lend money or when you invest, you can expect to receive interest or a return. And this, our ancient source tells us, is a key fundamental way the wealthy not only keep their wealth, but grow it even more.
Yeah, to really get why interest is just a basic fact of life in any economy that works, you have to see money itself as a crucial resource. Think of it like employees or raw materials or machinery. If
Right.
you want to build a factory, you need materials, you need workers.
You pay for those.
You pay for those. Salaries for workers, payment for materials. But you also desperately need capital. The actual money to build the place, buy the equipment, cover costs until you make sales. Capital's a resource, just like labor or materials. And to attract that vital capital from investors or lenders, you have to offer them something in return for using it.
That's the interest.
That's the interest. It's the payment for the temporary use of someone else's financial resource.
Yeah.
It's just a non-negotiable part of how economies function.
And here's where the real magic kicks in for the investor. Compound interest. This is where your interest earnings themselves start earning interest. It builds over time, potentially exponentially.
Interest on interest.
Exactly. It's often called that. And it truly is one of the most powerful, attractive ways to build serious wealth over the long haul. Wasn't it Einstein who supposedly called it the eighth wonder of the world?
That's the legend. Whether he actually said it or not, the power is undeniable. Let's use a specific example from the book to make it super clear. Its effect is potent. Imagine you invest, say, $100,000 in a new business venture. Solid amount. When the time comes to get paid back, the business owner returns your $100,000 plus 10% interest. So now you have $110,000.
Okay, simple enough.
Now, instead of taking that $10,000 profit and, I don't know, buying something nice, you make the strategic move. You reinvest the entire $110,000. Put it into another venture with the same terms, another 10% interest. This time, when you get your money back, you won't just get $11,000 interest, $10K on the original plus $1K on the first interest payment. You'll get back $121,000 in total.
Ah, so the interest itself grew.
Exactly. You're now earning interest on your original capital and on the interest the capital already generated. You can keep doing this over and over. And with each cycle, your money isn't just working for you. It's becoming increasingly effective. More efficient, it generated more money over time. This consistent reinvestment of earnings, that's the engine of real wealth creation.
What's just captivating here, and it really is the engine behind many fortunes, is that sheer unstoppable power of compounding. Your money, once you invest it wisely, patiently let it compound. It basically becomes this army of diligent workers.
Tireless employees.
They never sleep, never take holidays, never ask for a raise, working 24/7, constantly generating more for you and getting exponentially better at it with every cycle. It's an unseen force, maybe, but its impact on your financial future, it can be incredibly visible over time.
Earning your own luck, the active pursuit of opportunity.
All right, let's tackle a big one now. A concept that often feels, well, mysterious? Arbitrary, maybe. Luck. How do you, listening right now, typically define luck? I think most people see it as something totally random. Right?
Yeah, like a lightning strike. Serendipity.
Something that just happens to you, out of the blue, beyond your control. You either get lucky or you don't. But is that really the whole picture? Or the most useful way to think about it? Our ancient source from Babylon makes a compelling and actually quite empowering distinction here.
It does. And it's a crucial distinction for anyone aiming for success, especially financial success. We need to separate luck from chance.
Yeah.
Chance is genuinely random, unpredictable. You can't influence it. Winning the lottery, getting hit by lightning, that's chance.
Hmm.
But actual luck, as this wisdom sees it, isn't truly random in the same way. It argues that people actively work for it, they prepare for it, and as a result, they essentially earn it.
Earn their luck. How does that work?
The book gives a great example. Imagine you're in a big tennis tournament final. High stakes. You've practiced like crazy for months, honed your skills, prepped thoroughly, studied your opponent. Then, crucial point, you hit a shot. It clips the very top of the net, and the ball just dies, bouncing weirdly out of your opponent's reach.
Ah, the lucky net cord.
Right. Was that pure random luck? Well, yes and no. The net clip itself was chance. But you earned that luck through all that hard practice, through positioning yourself perfectly, through consistent effort. You put yourself in a situation where that tiny bit of chance could actually make the difference in your favor. You created the conditions for luck to show up.
Okay, so if luck isn't just random chance, how do you actively make yourself luckier in the world of finance? It sounds a bit like magic.
It's not magic, it's vigilance.
Vigilant.
Yes. The answer, according to the source, is surprisingly straightforward and very actionable. You do it by constantly, actively, consistently being on a lookout for opportunities to increase your wealth. It's not passive waiting. It's not hoping lightning strikes. It's an active, ongoing process.
Almost scientific. Observation and engagement.
Exactly. Let's take the entrepreneur example from the book again. It illustrates this perfectly. She's really interested in consumer tech, sees the potential, the rapid changes. So what does she do? She doesn't just wait for news. She dedicates time every single day, reads industry reports, examines global finance trends, and crucially, she networks constantly with innovators, researchers, other forward thinkers in her space.
Just deliberate work.
It's deliberate vigilance, strategic effort to stay informed and connected. So one day, doing her usual research, she reads a report. 3D TVs are projected to be the next big thing, disruptive trend. Later that same day, almost seems like fate, right? She hears from an inventor in her network. He's found a way to make these TVs for half the usual cost.
Wow, opportunity knocks.
And because she'd done her homework, had the knowledge, had the connection, she immediately sees the potential, seizes the opportunity, partners with the inventor, starts production, becomes hugely successful. Was it a stroke of luck? Sure, maybe a little timing involved, but it was clearly the direct result of her hard work, her vigilance, her knowledge, her network, and her willingness to act decisively. She sought out and prepared for that opportunity.
It really does come back to that old Boy Scout motto, doesn't it? Be prepared.
Fundamentally, yes.
This active preparation, this constant seeking, learning, connecting, that's what genuinely creates good luck in finance. You're building the infrastructure, intellectual and social, to recognize and grab opportunities when they appear, not just hoping they land in your lap or whining when they don't.
You're creating your own serendipity through deliberate action.
The cost of delay, avoiding missed opportunities.
So we've talked about earning your luck. Now let's look at the flip side, that familiar, often painful territory of bad luck, or maybe more accurately, just missed opportunities, those moments we look back on, kicking ourselves, thinking, if only I had. We all have those stories, right?
Oh, definitely. Hindsight is 20/20.
Why do so many people let these golden chances, sometimes staring them right in the face, just slip away?
Well, far too often, the main culprit is simple procrastination. It's just that human tendency to put things off, wait for more certainty, gather just one more piece of data, delay making the call.
Analysis paralysis.
Exactly. Let's take that 3D TV entrepreneur again. Imagine the opposite scenario. What if she'd hesitated, decided to wait, let the tech prove itself more, let the market get less risky, more established? That inventor, he would have found someone else. Guaranteed.
Opportunities don't wait around.
They don't, especially the really good ones. They're rarely served up on a silver platter with a guarantee attached. They often show up wrapped in uncertainty. Requiring a bit of a leap, combined with your informed belief, you have to be proactive. You have to seize them, or you will miss out. Because that window of opportunity, it's also pretty narrow. Hesitation is incredibly costly. Not just lost profit, but lost experience, lost growth.
Okay, knowing that, how can you actively increase the flow of opportunities coming your way? It's not just about waiting better.
No, it's about engagement. The source stresses you just have to put in consistent, focused, hard work. Study the areas you care about. Meticulously investigate. Become a genuine expert, or at least deeply knowledgeable. Build a strong, diverse network. Connect with people who share insights, introduce new ideas, maybe become partners. All of this massively boosts your ability not just to spot opportunities when they arise,
But to actually understand their potential value.
Precisely. It gives you the context and the connections to act decisively when the time is right. However, and this is an important reality check, helps manage expectations, it's also crucial to accept that even with all that hard work, truly golden opportunities are genuinely rare. They don't pop up every day, not even every month sometimes.
So it requires patience, too.
Absolutely essential. Patience and endurance. Persistence. There will be times, maybe long stretches, where it feels like all your hard work isn't yielding anything immediate, no obvious big chances. That can be really discouraging. A lot of people give up then.
The long game again.
It is. But your endurance, your commitment to that long game, that will eventually pay off when the right moment finally appears. It's a test of resolve, not just brains.
The book gives such a great example of this kind of endurance, really inspiring. Imagine an inventor, an entrepreneur, creates this revolutionary radio, needs no electricity at all. Amazing product, right? Life-changing potential, especially for remote places.
Huge potential.
She works tirelessly for years perfecting it, puts in her own time, her own money. Then she spends a whole year pitching it to investor after
A
investor.
rejection circuit.
Total rejection. Every venture capitalist, every backer turns her down, often dismissively, like, who even listens to the radio anymore?
Ouch. Demoralizing.
Terribly. But she keeps going. She believes in her product's value until one day, finally, an investor with a bigger vision sees it, realizes the incredible value for developing countries, places without reliable power grids.
Finds the right fit.
Her patience, her sheer endurance, her stubborn belief, it paid off big time. The product was a huge success, changed lives, made a fortune.
It's a powerful story, shows that persistence can literally uncover or create opportunities, even when things look bleak to everyone else.
Navigating the perils of financial ruin.
Okay, to wrap up our deep dive today, let's turn our attention to the other side of the coin. The actions that almost invariably lead to financial ruin. It's often not one single massive disaster, is it? More like a series of what the source bluntly calls irrational financial decisions.
Yeah, small leaks sinking a big ship sometimes.
So how can we use this ancient wisdom to proactively avoid that dangerous path? Protect the financial foundation we're trying to build.
The absolute crucial first step, the bedrock for avoiding ruin, is to make all your decisions about spending, about costs, about borrowing, using a realistic assessment of your personal needs and your current financial circumstances.
Sounds like basic common sense.
It sounds painfully obvious, yet it's amazing how often it gets ignored. Especially when desire kicks in or societal pressure. It means being brutally honest with yourself. What do you truly need versus what do you just want? And critically, what can you genuinely afford right now without wrecking your present or future financial stability? It takes disciplined self-awareness, looking past that immediate gratification urge.
The source paints a really chilling picture of the debt spiral using that timeless, flashy car example. Imagine you desperately want a new, expensive car, way more than you need, maybe more than you can afford.
Keeping up with the Joneses.
Right. That little voice says no, you know it needs a big loan, bad terms, probably high interest, long payback.
But you do it anyway. Give in to the desire.
Now suddenly, a huge chunk of your monthly income is just gone. Vanishes, mostly paying interest on this thing that's losing value every day.
Appreciating asset, yeah.
Eventually, the main loan payment comes due and you just don't have it. So what's the next disastrous step for many?
Take out another loan, often worse terms, just to pay off the first one.
And boom, you're caught.
Caught in the spiral. Every new loan digs the hole deeper. More and more income goes to interest payments. Nothing left to save, nothing to invest.
And like the book jokes, you better hope that flashy car is comfy to sleep in because you might lose your home.
It's a stark warning. And just broadening that out, taking on debt generally, especially consumer debt, is just a profoundly bad strategy if your main goal is building wealth and freedom. Because instead of saving, investing, watching your money grow through compounding, you're constantly spending your income paying back past debts. Often for stuff you consumed ages ago that provides no current value. It just perpetually drains your financial energy, siphons off potential capital away from wealth creation towards servicing old obligations.
Like trying to fill a leaky bucket.
Exactly. No matter how much you pour in, it never really fills up. It prevents accumulation and growth.
But here's a really surprising twist, almost counterintuitive. The source points out that this deep indebtedness, it can actually be really bad for the creditors too in the long run.
Yeah, it's not just the borrower who suffers.
The Eurozone crisis is a stark modern example. Greece got massively indebted to the European Central Bank, other lenders, because Greece had to pour so much of its national budget into just making debt payments.
Austerity measures.
Right. They couldn't invest properly in things vital for long-term growth.
Hmm.
Modernizing schools, building infrastructure roads, ports, networks, improving public services.
The very things needed to grow the economy.
Exactly. Without those future-focused investments, the country could never realistically generate the wealth needed to pay back those huge debts fully.
Leading to constant default threats.
Which created a situation where both sides, Greece, the debtor, and the ECB and other creditors ended up worse off, trapped in this cycle of austerity, underinvestment, and instability.
And this specific large-scale example raises a really important question. For policymakers, for big lenders, even for individual creditors sometimes. Why, in certain situations, it might actually be smarter, economically and socially, for creditors to think about suspending debt payments
Hmm.
or restructuring them significantly.
Give the debtor breathing room.
Exactly. The goal wouldn't be forgiveness necessarily, but to allow the debtor, whether it's a person or a whole country, to recover, stabilize their finances, and critically rebuild their ability to grow and be productive long term. It's recognizing that sometimes a bit of short-term leniency, easing that immediate payment burden, can paradoxically lead to better long-term outcomes for everyone, fostering an environment where debt can actually be repaid sustainably, eventually, instead of just pushing towards an inevitable default.
A shift from just punishment to strategic rehabilitation, maybe.
That's a good way to put it, thinking about the whole system's health.
So we've traveled all the way from the dusty markets of ancient Babylon right up to the complexities of modern global finance and distilled wisdom that really does feel timeless. Let's quickly recap the incredible, actionable insights we pulled from The Richest Man in Babylon. We started with that foundation, often overlooked. Diligently save a part of all you earn. Step 1.
Not negotiable.
Then, the crucial next step, invest wisely. Make your money work for you. Don't just let it sit. We touched on the humility needed for true financial wisdom, admitting what you don't know is the start of learning, and the vital importance of playing the long game. Accepting setbacks not as failures, but as learning opportunities.
Building resilience.
Exactly. We clearly distinguish between just making money, trading time for dollars, and truly attaining wealth where your assets work for you. We highlighted that unseen, powerful engine, compound interest. And finally, we learned how to actively earn our own luck through preparation, vigilance, and seizing opportunities decisively.
These ancient stories, these parables, updated for today, they really offer an incredibly timeless, practical, and effective blueprint for financial success. They just underscore this undeniable truth, the path to real, lasting wealth. It's far less about random chance or chasing hot tips, and far more about informed, disciplined, and consistently proactive action. These aren't just abstract ideas, they're concrete steps anyone can take if they're truly committed to building prosperity and achieving genuine financial freedom.
And as we close out this deep dive, I want to leave you with one final thought, something to really chew on, maybe integrate into your life starting right now. Considering everything we've learned from Babylon today, what is just one little luxury in your current life that you're truly ready to reconsider? Not as a painful sacrifice, okay, but as an intentional, empowering investment in your future self, in your long-term financial freedom. What's that one thing for you? Thank you so much for joining us on the deep dive. We genuinely hope you take these powerful nuggets of ancient wisdom, really internalize them, and let them guide you towards a richer, more secure, and truly abundant financial future.